Well, what? It might be nothing, but I saw this black car pulling away, and I thought... She shook her head. I thought I saw the back of a blonde head through the rear window. Margot's head? Katie shrugged and looked miserable. I don't know. It was just a glimpse, and then the car turned the corner. Do you remember the license plate, the make, the model? Katie responded to each question with a shake of her head. I don't know cars. I did notice it had 4 doors, and beyond that... Swell, Brannigan thought. A black sedan. San Francisco had thousands and thousands of them. But Katie's story convinced him that someone had kidnapped Margot Kachmar, in broad daylight to boot. He'd start where she was last seen, at Washington Grant, and move out from there. But he'd move on his own. This was his chance to get himself out of Dutch with the chief, so he'd keep it to himself for now. If Hanrahan got wind that this was a real kidnapping, he'd pull Brannigan and put someone else on it sure. Someone in that area of Chinatown had to remember something. All he needed to do was ask the right person. And that meant his next step was good old-fashioned door-to-door detective work. Wah! Yu Choyong cried. Slow the car! Zhang Zifu looked around, startled. He and Yu had occupied the back of one of the black Packard sedans owned by Yan Yuap Tong. An underling Yu had brought from Singapore sat behind the wheel. All three wore identical black cotton outfits with high collars and frog-button fronts, although Yu's large girth required twice as much fabric as Zhang's. Each jacket was embroidered with a golden dragon over the left breast. Each man wore his hair woven into a braid that dangled from beneath a traditional black skull cap. What is wrong, Zhang said as the car slowed almost to a stop. Nothing is wrong, my Tong brother. In fact, everything is right. A chubby finger pointed toward the sidewalk. Look and marvel. Zhang peered through the side window glass and saw a typical Chinatown scene. Pushcarts laden with fruits and vegetables, fish live and dead, fluttering caged birds, and roasted ducks. Weaving among them was the usual throng of shoppers, a mix of locals and tourists. Yu had come to America just last month on a mission for his father, head of the Yan Yuap Tong's house in Singapore. Zhang had volunteered to guide him through the odd ways of this strange country. Yu was proving to be a trial. Arrogant and headstrong, he did not give proper face to his Tong brothers here in San Francisco. Some of that might be anticipated from the son of a Tong chief from home, but Yu went beyond the proper bounds. No one expected him to kowtow, but he should show more respect. I don't understand. Yu turned to face him. He ran a long, sinuous tongue over his lips, brushing his thin, drooping mustache in the process. His smile narrowed further his puffy lids until they were mere slits through which his onyx eyes gleamed. Red hair! Red hair! Zhang looked again and saw a little girl, no more than 10 years old, standing by a cart, looking at a cage full of sparrows. She wore a red dress with white trim, and her unruly hair was even redder, a bushy flame flaring from around her face like the corona of an eclipse. Look at her! Yu's voice was a serpent slithering through the car. What a price I can fetch for her! But she's a child. Yes, precisely. I have a buyer in Singapore who specializes in children, and a red-haired child. Aye, he will pay anything for her. Zhang's stomach tightened. A child. Are you forgetting the conditions set by the Mandarin? May maggots eat the eyes of your Mandarin. Zhang couldn't help a quick look around. He thanked his ancestors that the windows were closed. Someone might have heard. Do not speak of him so, and do not even think of breaking your agreement with him. Yu leaned closer. Where do your loyalties lie, Zhang? With your Tong, or with this mysterious Mandarin you all kowtow to? I am loyal to Yan Yuap, but I am also fond of my skin, and if you wish to keep yours, you will heed my warning. Those who oppose his will wind up dead or are never seen again. Yeah. Yu waved a dismissive hand. By tomorrow night I will be at sea, and this barbarous country will be far behind me. Yes, you will be gone, but I will still have to live here. Yu grinned, showing mottled teeth, stains from his opium pipe. That is not my worry. Do not be so sure. The Mandarin's reach is long. He has never been known to break his word, and he has no mercy towards those who break theirs to him. I beg you not to do this. The grin turned into a sneer. America has softened you, Zhang. You shake like a frightened old woman. Zhang looked away. This man was a fool. Yu had come to America for women, white women he could sell to the Singapore brothels. The lower-level houses there and the streets around them were full of dollar girls shipped in from the farmlands. But the upper-echelon salons that provided gambling as well as sex needed something special to bring in the high rollers. White women were one such draw, and blonde...